Martin. I've seen some of you before, talked to some of you before, emailed some of you before. Um, Hi, I'm Officer Martin. Can you hear me now? I'm gonna talk about the crime stats for Madisonville and let's see. Part one crimes are down, which is good. Violent crimes are down, which are good. We did have some theft from autos, and we had some auto thefts. We're still dealing with the issue with the Kias and the Hyundais. People are still not getting their cars fixed. And also, we're dealing with people still putting things in plain view when you leave the vehicle, like wallets, rings, phones, anything of valuable you should not have in your car. And we have also having a lot of people who leave their doors unlocked in the vehicle, which is not good as well. And the car can get stolen that way as well. But other than that, everything, we don't have any type of major crime issues. Everything's down in the Madisonville area. We did do a CPOP program, and I got a lot of emails, I got a lot of calls, I got a lot of messages about a certain street in Madisonville that was having a lot of drug activity. So we had some of the units in the police department. We did a lot of investigation, and we got we got the majority of all the drug issues eliminated in that particular area. And Captain Pettis is going to talk about that CPROP project for that particular area.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Danita Pettis. I'm the District 2 captain. And last Tuesday, in fact, I did a presentation to the command staff, and certainly members of the Madisonville community were invited to come and view the presentation. We did have one or two individuals that came from Madisonville that actually sat through the presentation. And I won't obviously do the whole presentation for you tonight, but I'll just hit some of the highlights of what Officer Martin was just referring to. So the CPOP project that we did, it was in the 4400 block of Simpson Avenue. We had reports of kind of prostitution, drug sales in the area, and just some of the citizens that live on that street and in that immediate vicinity were complaining of overall fear in the neighborhood from this one particular house that was on Simpson. So essentially what we did, we started out with just kind of monitoring the calls for service, and we compared what they were maybe, let's say, since the beginning of the year to what they were at that particular time. So we would have a gauge to see if we had an effect or impact on the calls for service going down after we did the project. So most of the calls for that particular location were drug calls. So what we did was we worked in partnership with the community council. We worked with our undercover drug unit officers in the district, our violent crime squad, and then we also worked with some of the city health departments and our code enforcement response team, just to make sure that the particular location that it was, if they had any code enforcement violations, that we could get that stuff addressed in the process of doing, the other work we were trying to do for the drugs, for the prostitution. So we actually wound up doing, kind of just some surveillance in the area, knowing who's who, looking at different cars and things like that, who's coming and going. Ultimately, it culminated in us doing a search warrant at that particular location. Our SWAT team actually did the search warrant there, and we recovered drugs, guns, and we made 2 arrests for individuals that were in the house. It was 2 adult male subjects. One was the person that was actually renting that residence, was a problem resident, a problem tenant. We never were able to make contact with the owners of the property because it's owned by some type of development firm in another city. But right now, the house is vacant. The individual has been evicted. And so the calls for service for drugs and prostitution have gone down to pretty much 0. So it was really just about eradicating the problem at that exact location. But we were receiving a lot of calls from your residents regarding that location. But we did make an arrest of these two individuals. And I think some of the drugs that were recovered were marijuana. I think we got some methamphetamine and also I want to say cocaine as well. So that obviously was a very successful project. It ended in our calls for service for that location going down. It ended in an arrest, and it ended in that problem location, that particular address being eradicated, at least for the time being. Hopefully, if this corporation or this company, development company, decides to rent or lease that property out again, maybe they'll be much more mindful and responsible to the tenants that they lease it. So we won't have that problem. So, and last but certainly not least, we have our trick or treat event is coming up on October 31st. Halloween is going to be from 5:30 p.m. until 8 p.m. at the Artsfield Community Center, 5021 Wetzel, which is actually maybe 3 or 4 blocks from this location that was the problem location. So it's just our way of trying to reclaim that area. So now people don't have that same level of fear they had at first. So we're reclaiming that space and doing a community event where people can bring their kids and pull up and get candy or what have you. So really just kind of taking back that space and making it more of a community space. But that was the project that we did for this quarter for District 2, the Madisonville project. So I want to thank the people that were instrumental in calling in information, the community council, because they were aware of every step of the way what I want to do with the project. So just thank you to everybody that helped us bring a successful conclusion.
Anybody got any questions?
Got one.
Just one quick one. I know there was at least one breakdown again at Nottingham Works within this last week. I assume that was an isolated event and that likely somebody got something in their car, passenger side breakdown.
Probably so. I gotta look that up. Or you can email me. But they're not gonna know. No.
Just to clarify, how quickly does the data roll in? Does that make sense?
When we do our crime stats, we normally look at it in 28-day chunks. So we can compare it to this same time period last year. We look at it in terms of 28-day chunks. So if there's something that's a series or a trend, we can kind of identify that over a 3 or 4 week period. Then we also look at it in terms of an annual, what was going on this exact same time last year. Then we do like a 3-year average. So if say a break-in happened last week, it wouldn't necessarily be on our radar right away unless there was something unique about it, like there was a recurrence, because then that's going to be a statistical outlier or something significant about that particular crime.
Yeah, that's definitely what I was trying to get at. Thank you very much. Seeing no other questions for them, thank you very much. Obviously, call 911 an emergency, but now the city has the 311 for non-emergency. So if you have crime reports, use 311 and you can call that in for non-emergency kind of crime stuff.
That's for anything,
Yep.
like anything public works, obviously not for police and fire, but just for general public works, like
It's like potholes, signs that have faded or fallen down. There's also a website, but yeah, you'd be surprised.
Like homeless encampments, things like that, stuff that's a community problem.
All right, thank you very much. For the rest of public administration announcements, I'm not seeing any of our other partners here. I know we did say the Lighthouse, the new principal of Lighthouse School, she is running late, but we'll keep moving on. So as we talked about at the beginning of the meeting, we passed that motion to rearrange. So we will skip the old business real quick. You'll notice that these are 2 items that were on last month's agenda, there were some questions about quorum at that time. So the board thought it was prudent to just vote on it one more time, just to have no questions about the approval from the community council. So the first item is a revocable street privilege application for planters and benches. Those are planted throughout the neighborhood by the Madisonville Youth Community Council and Beautification Committee about 10 years ago. And this city has apparently lost that contract. So what we're asking for is approval from the general body to restart that application process. That will require a map and photo of all the planters and benches, and that will be sent to the city. But we're simply just getting approval, just to make that clear, because this would be a recurring maintenance obligation for the community council. That's basically it. Are there any questions? Okay. Seeing none, can I get a motion on the floor from someone to approve the submission of revocable street privilege for the MCC planters and benches in Madisonville? I see Alex Smith. I see Ms. Tony seconds. Okay. All right. All right. So we'll do this again. By show of hands, how many yeses do I have from our members? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Thank you. All right. By show of hands, how many noes do I have? Seeing none. And by show of hands, how many abstentions do I have? Seeing none. Thank you, and we'll keep you updated as that process moves forward. The second one is a similar, very similar item. Is also a revocable street privilege. That contract does exist, which is great. I just could not find any paperwork, like meeting minutes, that we had formally voted to take on this responsibility. So this is for the 2-year medians that you will see between Bramble and Brotherton. So this is in the public right of way. This is a contract with the Department of Transportation at the city. But at the end of the day, these kinds of items, they are not going to maintain themselves in the city. So they lean on community organizations to maintain them instead. So they do reserve the right, the city reserves the right to cancel a contract at any time for any reason, and we would be required within 30 days to bring it back to the agreed upon condition if we happen to have changed it. But at the end of the day, it's up to the community to take care of it and to determine the quality of it based on who's going to volunteer and help it out. And it's just not going to get done if the community doesn't do it. That's just kind of the reality of these contracts at the moment. I can pull up a map to help reference this. But are there, looking forward, any questions? We talked about it last month. Everybody knows what they are. Okay, so seeing none, we can, do I have a motion on the floor? I see a motion by Alex Smith. Do I have a second? Jeff Hart. Yep. And so we can vote on that now. It's this right here. Let's have the Wi-Fi work. Of course, my computer. But yeah, it's this section right here. All right. So once again, hopefully, yep, okay. All right, by show of hands, from the membership, this is a member vote. How many yeses do I have? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Thank you. By show of hands, do I have any notes? I see none. And by show of hands, do I have any abstentions? I see none. Okay. All right, thank you very much. I will sign that paperwork, when all that paperwork is executed, at next month's meeting, I will upload that fully signed paperwork next month for reference. All right, now on to new business. The first item kind of came together last minute, very quickly. We have a community member, a long-term community member of the Cincinnati Bible Way Church. Hold them up here on the map for reference. But they are applying for a grant with the city of Cincinnati. And they, part of that process is asking for support from the community. So they are asking for better support for that grant application. There we go. How about that? All right, so this white building was their church.
Good evening. My name is Bowser.
Closer, please.
You can't hear me?
Now I do.
I can't hear you either. Anyway, my name is Mel Bowser, and I'm a member of the Cincinnati Bible Way Church here in Madisonville. We're located on the corner of Sierra and Chapman. That's, everybody knows where that is. Well, anyway, we are applying to the city for some monies to help us complete the parking lot that we've been in the process of developing for the last 5 years. And the reason why it's taking us 5 years is COVID stopped us first, and then we had some issues, and then the city said we have to survey all of our land before we can get the zoning changed and all kinds of things that happen. But the reason why we're here at the last minute trying to get support is because the application that came out in August, and we thought we were gonna apply for those funds, and when I pulled up the application from the computer, it was the application for the landlord-tenant program. And when it asked for information on your current construction building, and we didn't have a building on the parking lot, we no longer tried to pursue that grant. And I found out last week that we were eligible and that I did have the wrong application. So it took me 1 week to try and get this application together, and that's why we're here at the last minute trying to get council support, because that application is due tomorrow at 12 o'clock. So I have to have that letter of support tonight. We have been developing this parking lot. At first we were developing it for the church. And then when we started having so much conflict in the neighborhood about parking, we decided, well, maybe we need to help the neighbors with their parking, especially those neighbors who live on Sierra. Because as the businesses grew, and they started coming this way on Madison Road, the people who live on Sierra, on this side of Wetzel, had no place to park because the people from Madison Road was parking on Sierra. And if you don't have a driveway and you live on Sierra, by the time you get home from work, everybody from Madison Road is parked in front of your door. So you have no place to park. So our initial program was to resurface our parking lot and offer free parking to those residents and homeowners who live on Sierra, coming from Ward Street, going all the way back to Kenwood Road. And that is where we are today. The first phase of our parking, that is exactly what we plan on doing. And we need your support. Do I have some questions?
Which
Yes.
lot- Which lots?
I don't hear, remember?
So he's asking which lots. So I have this map up here. So this is, just to orient you, this is the church here.
Yeah.
This is Chapman, Sierra, bisecting the screen, and Mathis. So the church owns these lots here.
We own everything from the Korean church, from that wall on the Korean church, all the way down to Mathis. Except for one lot that's in there, we couldn't get the people to sell it.
Yeah, there's a parcel like right here on Mathis that is individually owned separate.
So which lots do you want to develop?
Like, so for this, this phase, how large is the parking lot gonna be?
It's actually 4,777 square feet.
And is it like the entirety of?
Yes.
Okay.
At first, we were gonna just pave part of it. But then when they started saying, we need parking, then we decided we better pave all of it.
And then I think, where's the access gonna be?
The access is from Mathis or Sierra.
I have a question. Will it be a paid parking lot or a free parking lot?
Would it be,
Is it the parking lot paid or free?
is it paved?
Free.
Well, you have to pay to park there at
We
any
have to
time.
pay.
Yeah, is there a fee?
Right. Once we have the parking lot paved, it will be free for the neighbors that live on Sierra and right there that have no place to park. We're gonna give them a decal where they can park for free.
Okay, so the immediate neighbors.
In the future, as the businesses come down Madison Road and they need parking, at that time, we're gonna have to get together with the business community and revise how we do the parking.
How many spaces?
Do you know how many spaces?
No. It'll be a lot though.
So this fund that you're applying for is called the Neighborhood Catalytic Investment Fund. It's the second year for it, and there's two versions. There's early action and there's construction.
Yeah, it's the early action.
Early action. So this one won't actually pay for any physical construction just yet. It'll just pay for those early activities like the drawing and stuff.
We've already done that. We've already spent a lot of money already. We've been doing parking for about 3 years. And we've already spent a lot of money on developing the parking. And after we found out about this money from the city, that would help us to finish the development, you know.
And not too far from Cincinnati Bible Way, my dumpster is in the back of the alley right there. And I think to me that y'all should go ahead and do that parking lot, because I remember a long time ago, they were supposed to build a gym there. But for some reason, I should say this, it hasn't even gotten okay. But building the parking lot there on that vacant land, I said, go ahead and go for it. That way, it can help the residents who live on Sierra to have a place to park, because there are sometimes, that section of road can sometimes be full of cars, and a car barely can even get through, because one section of resident lives in the apartment, he got this side of the road blocked.
Right.
But if the other person's trying to go this way, can't barely get in, because the road is blocked, it's too tight, because the car is on the end. You know that the sign says you do not park at the end of the corner right there. And the city needs to start going out in the neighborhood and telling these folks you cannot park at the end of that corner right there. Makes it difficult for those to get through. especially for the garbage trucks too.
Great. Guys.
Welcome. I'm glad to hear that you're looking forward in the future for possible use of that parking lot. That's a lot of space. We've had issues, particularly with the development of Wexel and Madison about parking. It's been an ongoing conversation for quite a long time. And I always thought that there's ample parking space, particularly these churches. So in the future, if there was such a thing as an event, let's say at Hartsville, Mad Palm Brewery or type, that you would be in conversation with those businesses to park, because it would be great, because then we would alleviate what would be the parking issues that have been plaguing our conversations for quite a few years.
Right, and then initially, when we complete the parking, we would also offer it to those businesses that are having special events. We would offer it to them for free. You know, you're having a special event, okay, of course your people can come down and park around.
Just wanted to clarify, so it's not public parking?
No,
There's no public parking?
no.
And then, and second, I said reporters for the White House pool, and I have a follow-up question. The follow-up question is how soon, two questions. Will the money from the city pay the entire lot, and how soon will it be, in your projections, when y'all start building the gym facility?
The money from the city should be coming like next month. The money that we've already spent, we're already at a phase that what needs to happen next is we need to clear the land of those major trees and the fences and stuff like that. And that's what the money from the city would do, help us pull that stuff down so that we can begin the paving.
4,000 square foot parking lot will park approximately 80 cars.
80 cars.
80.
80.
80.
No, I can park more than that.
It's not 4,000, 40,000.
Is it 40,000 square feet?
We're only using right now for the church about, maybe about a fourth of the land that we have for parking. And we can park 35 on a third of the land.
I think she was looking at like a rule of thumb calculation. I think another question.
Yes.
I just wanted to, just to thank you for making sure and looking out for some of the neighbors,
Yeah.
that need the parking. And I would ask that the businesses, if down the road you decide that you want to help, that it not be free to the businesses, as churches do need, to have money coming in for repairs and things, that be considered. And that the businesses consider that and actually provide a fee as opposed to, accepting anything free from a church.
Got someone in the middle there?
Maybe we should ask Ackerman for a donation, because when he came to the community to build, he said he was gonna have a garage. Now, a lot of his residents in his apartments is parking around that corner. On the street, it's not fair, it's not fair for the residents. So you need to get him involved, get the city to help him donate some money to keep that money. Don't laugh. And I think everybody should vote to support her. You support everything else you do. We done lost South Street. Please support her. Thank you, thank you. I know we had an event, a member from my church had an event at the new library 2 or 3 weeks ago. And if you got there late, there was no place to park other than walking 3 blocks on Wetzel to get to the library.
Okay, seeing no other hands. Is anybody want to make a motion? Any sort?
Motion for end discussion and have a vote.
Could we,
want to make a motion to end discussion and have a vote.
Is that second? Yeah. That's Dave Capister and a second from Alex Smith. Okay. So the motion is to submit a letter of support for their application to the city for the pre-construction or parking lot on this lot here. I don't think it has a specific, it has multiple addresses. But I'll include all of the addresses in that letter of support.
Done?
Okay, so once again, so this is a community-wide vote. You can be a member, but you all, if you're not an active member and you're a resident, you can still vote. This impacts the whole neighborhood. Okay, so by show of hands, how many yeses do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. That was a lot. I'd be off by 1 or 2. By show of hands, are there any no's? And by show of hands, are there any? Okay, so 1 no?
Sorry.
Right. By show of hands, I see no hands for no. So, by show of hands, how many abstentions do I see? I see 1. Thank you. I'll write that before I go to bed and send that forward. I actually have a work meeting, so in the mornings I have to make sure I do it. All right, now for the biennial nominations. So the next and last order of business is the nominating committee. So we're going to start with the chair of the nominating committee, Monica Hill. She will give us a report on how her work went.
Good evening, everybody. So, I don't know if you guys recall, back in July, we created the nominating committee, right? So, myself, Ms. Garrison, Ms. Rhoda Bates, and Mike Ty worked together to get people to see if they wanted to become our new board directors, basically. We did run into a lot of issues with communication. We did our due diligence. We did have quite a few people not respond, unfortunately. So as of right now, there are only 3 people running officially that have agreed from all our phone calls, text messages, and emails. Okay. So I was saying that there's only 3 people that officially stated that they want to run for an office. So as of right now, we can take nominations off the floor once we present this ballot that was created by us. So what that means is you can nominate someone from the room that is an active member to run for any of these offices. That being stated, once you nominate that person, they have to accept your nomination, and you cannot nominate yourself.
You can also decline.
Yes.
You're not required to accept the nomination, it's just, you have to verbally state that you accept it or not. Good.
Okay.
Also the happy hour.
I will get to that
one. Okay.
Let's get through that.
Okay, all right. Okay. All right, so who did you guys, from the process, get yeses from?
During our process, we received a yes from Kate Botus to run for president. We received a yes from myself to run for vice president. No one for treasurer, and due to constraints of how this election process goes, Anna Albie's name is on here under recording secretary, which is her current position. It is only on there because she stated that if she did not win, she would like to run for election. However, due to how elections go, according to Robert's rules, we cannot add her after tonight. So her name has to be put on here anyway. Upon her winning city council position, she will withdraw her name from the list. But it's only on here because I can't add it after tonight. Does everybody understand that?
Okay, I just have a question, just a couple of questions.
Sure.
First, when exactly is the, I just started to be a member today.
Okay.
So I would not be active for a month, or it said 4 weeks according to the paperwork that I received today. So my question would be, when exactly is the election? Is the election next month, or is the election today? Or what are the details with regards to that? And another question. You're saying that you cannot accept any nominations after today. Is there, since you only have 3 people that you're presenting for positions, if you're able to get more people, and by waiting, is it possible to postpone until another period of time where you may have more people?
So, number one, the election is going to be held next month's meeting on November 16th, is that right? Okay, so that's our next one. Unfortunately, when I say we can't accept anybody else, we have to have the ballot confirmed tonight so that we have time for our candidates to campaign, essentially. That's why, according to Robert's rules, we have to accept nominations. So you could nominate Liz here tonight. After I've presented this, after I'm done, we're going to open the floor for nominations. And you could nominate Liz here to run for treasurer. Liz can either accept it or decline it. We can do all that tonight. And then after everyone has gone through and we confirm everybody who has been nominated is eligible to hold an office, we will go to close it, and then the ballot will be what it is after tonight. But everyone has a chance to nominate someone. But again, we have to make sure they are eligible.
And then the question regarding postponing.
No, the election is set in our bylaws to be on November meeting on the odd year.
Yes.
The way it's phrased.
Okay.
And so that's what this process is for these 5 positions that are up for election. These are the 5 that are always up for election every 2 years. To qualify, you have to be a resident, you have to be an active member, and as of this meeting, you need to have attended 4 meetings this year. So we take August off every year. So this is the 9th meeting of the year, the 9th regular meeting of the year, and you need to have attended 4 of those to qualify. That's a pretty big limiting factor. But in the case of where I'm answering, not having an open position, right? So for any time if there's a vacancy in the officers, the board can elect somebody to fill that spot. So for example, if you don't qualify today, but you are still interested, please don't go away. If there's come January, if there's a vacancy, it's not out of the question to help fill that vacancy, right? So between election cycles, there's a way to fill those spots.
Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you both.
All right. Is there any other questions?
I should know this, but if we don't fill the treasurer's position, and if we appoint somebody, do they have to be at 4 meetings? Or can we appoint somebody who's a member that hasn't attended 4 meetings?
actually the first thing you reminded me of something first, is that our bylaws do not have strict a limiting factor, right? So if nobody's ever voted to replace somebody, that person is still there. So if nobody ever, this has actually happened previously with treasurer, our previous treasurer did it, I think for like 5 or 6 years, and it's supposed to be a term of 4. Nobody ever was elected to replace her, so eventually she just had to say, I quit. Someone needs to take, and push comes to shove, somebody has to take my spot. I'll have to double check how the bylaws are specifically worded. I don't think the 4 meeting requirement, I can't remember if the 4 meeting requirement counts for election by the board. I'll have to double check. If it would be within the last calendar year. That's kind of the problem with the wording, is it says 4 meetings in a year, it doesn't like say like calendar year. So that is kind of something that needs to be tuned up and clarified in the bylaws. I do know that. I don't have a great answer for you, but I'll have to give you another answer on that.
Given that our bylaws don't have an answer for us in that, then it's covered by law.
Yeah, anything, yes, thanks for that reminder. Anything that's not specifically laid out in the bylaws or standing rules can be default to Robert's Rules of Order, duly revised as the backup reference material. Okay. All right, so okay, one more question. Thank you, appreciate it.
I just have one concern, and I don't know if this is in the bylaws. I thought there was a time in between that somebody could run again, and Kate Bodos is running again, president, and she was just, well, vice president this term, and then president previously. I mean, I think it would be great to have somebody from this group or somewhere else to put their name up, because it just seems like it's the same over and over again. And like, I don't know, they.
Yeah, there's no like cooling off period or anything like that. So it does specifically state that, only one person can be one officer position at a time, right? So that it does technically mean one person could just rotate through all 5 positions. Yeah, so there's no limitation on that.
Just wanted the names of the nominees repeated, these are the individual positions.
So for president, we have Kate Bodas. For vice president, myself, Monica Hill. And Anna Albee for recording secretary.
And one of the things that the nominating committee had to deal with was that we were given the list of members who qualified for election. Many of the people who are on our list of memberships come 1 or 2 meetings. They're not here 4 meetings. They don't meet the requirement. Many of the people that we called said, hey, look, I'm not interested. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be a part. I'm not interested. So it really skinnied down the list of people who really wanted to be engaged and who wanted to be a part of this particular process. So it wasn't like we tried to miss anybody or we didn't follow the list or of members. It was just that those members said, no, I don't want to participate. So.
And we also had quite a few members not respond. And then apparently someone got an attitude about being asked. But that's you're not there.
I'm not trying to get off 7, but I need to really change something down on. Because I bust my butt getting out there before I'm doing, getting people to come to this meeting to apply for the membership chair. And it has no purpose. I just found out tonight. You can't, no one votes on it, you just appoint it. I think I need to change that.
Yeah, and there are a lot of other issues with our bylaws in general, so that is the vacant position right now. So if you have a passion for very specific wording, that would be nice. Or if you know somebody who would like to volunteer, would be a big help. Jim?
I'd like to nominate Ann Boland for president.
Well, we're not there yet. All right, are we done with questions from Monica and her report? And then I can open the floor. Question?
So, for the 4 attending, meetings, can that be online too, or is that only in person?
Yeah, so the attendance requirement is that sign-in sheet back there, which is very important. And it's in person here at our regularly scheduled meetings at the third Thursday of every month except August. The kind of special meetings that we may or may not have that are regular, that we announce, those don't count as attendance for this.
And there's really no true way to see who's attending to make that valid online. That's
I part every time I'm in.
Okay, so there are no more questions about the nominating committee, what they did, about this process in general. What we'll do is, everybody will have some questions.
I'm sorry, just a real quick question. Is it possible maybe to ask the people in the audience that may qualify if anyone's here that would like to be nominated?
We're going to do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, all right, so no other questions. So what we'll do is, so Steph has the microphone, she'll come to you. So raise your hand and nominate one person. We will then pivot to that person. They must be here in person. And that person can say yes or no. And then if you have more than one person, that's great. But give other people the opportunity to nominate, and we'll circle back. So at this time, I can open the floor for nominations by show of hands. First hand I saw was Alan.
I'd like to nominate Isaiah for president.
That's Isaiah Newberry. He doesn't live in Madisonville, he does not. Kathy?
Just a question, are we going to do this by office?
No.
Move from president, vice president, into nomination?
No. It's going across the board. Right here.
I'd like to nominate Ann Boland for president.
What is your name, sir?
Jim Diesel.
Jim Diesel nominates Ann Boland for president, and Boland says.
I would like to nominate Jeff Hart.
You mean there?
I thought yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
You say yes.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'd like to nominate Jeff Hart, treasurer.
He's right there. It's fine. Behind you. Yeah. Okay. Are we sure nobody wants to do corresponding? The role for that position is you would take the place of the recording secretary if they're not here and take meeting minutes at both our meetings and our board meetings. And then you would also send letters or well wishes to members if there's any family emergencies or crises. Okay.
And for those that don't know, there was a motion this year to amend the bylaws to move the corresponding secretary to swear off digital now to more of a membership person. So if you're nominated for corresponding secretary, just know that you might be taking over membership as well, if that amendment passes.
That would not, if you're elected for corresponding as it is now, that is how your term would be. So any kind of changes, so this is all basically, you're elected to do this position and these are the rules for it. So any changes in the bylaws or standing rules in the future would not take place until the next election. All right. Are there any other nominations? I see a hand.
I'd like to nominate Angela Peterson for correspondence.
Okay, I have a nomination for Angela Pearson for corresponding secretary. Sorry, what was your name again? So we can put that in the minutes.
Mary
Tadlock.
Tadlock.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. See you later.
I'm Von Engel, and I'm not making a nomination, but I would say, it'd be great if we could have more than one person for these various categories. And somebody called really nicely to see if I had run for an office, and I declined because I don't have the tenure quite in the neighborhood. I don't feel like I'm quite responsible and intelligent enough to rule well. But some of you have been around for a good long time. And I would just encourage you to join in and throw your hat in the ring and say, no, I care about Madisonville, and I would be willing to serve this committee. So I don't know if you can nominate yourself, but have that.
I've only lived here for 4 years, so totally know what you mean, man. I totally get you.
Shows that be here, love the neighborhood, run.
Yes.
You have just as much of a right to be part of it, and somebody who's been here for 40 years, and somebody who's been here for you. Throw your hat in.
Right, yeah. So I will waste some time here, just in case that's compelling anyone. So for the other positions that only have one person, the vice president, that is the position where your responsibility is to take the place of the president when they're not around. So when I am not here, the vice president chairs this meeting. And you get to be in a lot of meetings, and for the most part, you get to know what's going on, you get to have insider information, because I tend to make sure that at least somebody else knows what's going on, and commonly that's the vice president, if it's not specific to a committee. So you get to know a lot of what's going on in the city, in the neighborhood, meet some people, and you don't really have a ton of responsibility with that. Oh, look, another hand, all right.
I would like to nominate Von Engel for vice president.
You just got nominated. Ding, ding, ding. Do you accept the nomination for the vice president?
Yes, yes.
No, sorry. Sure.
Yes, I would.
I think I spelled your name wrong, but officially, yeah, this is official. The minutes are official. See another hand? Real quick here.
This isn't a nomination, but I know you've explained the positions. Have you also explained what the responsibilities in terms of time with the meetings? I think they're, especially on the board, right? Have you done that? And then the other thing I want to say, is there a possibility to change the requirement about being at council meetings for X amount of four meetings? It seems like that does preclude a lot of people that might want to participate, not participating.
Yes, good point. There was a while I was like not being subtle about the 4 out of 9. Yeah, so that is the median number requirement to qualify. That is specified in our bylaws, so that does need to be changed. Obviously, I think most would say 4 out of 9 is pretty high in a given year. Also needs to be clarified as to is it the exact calendar year or is it the last 12 months, trailing for 12 months. So yeah, that's something that would need to be a bylaws change. And to be honest with you, it does need to be lowered to 3. The grant we get from the city specifies that, so we do need to lower that for that reason alone. If not, just to help increase opportunities. The other question is the meeting requirement, which I didn't mention because I don't want to scare people away. But we have a monthly board meeting the week before this meeting, so that's 2 meetings a month. For the officer positions that you see here, there is an attendance requirement for this meeting. So it's, you cannot miss more than 3 meetings total in a year, or 2 in a row. But there's a nice little caveat on there that, unless the board takes action. So, if you have extenuating circumstances, the board can basically vote to waive that requirement, right? Kind of exists so that way if somebody just disappears and never shows up, like there's an automated process to having a person just sit there, taking up that spot. Right? Not seeing any other hands. All right. I think that's enough. I think this is the best we got. All right, I'll close the nominations. So that's it. This is it. This is what it's going to be. These are our 7 people for 5 positions. I know one last thing was Monica, as chair of the committee, she was able to arrange like a happy hour event, right? So everybody can talk to these candidates and discuss what they want to do in this role. So she's got that penciled in for Wednesday, November 1st at 6 p.m. Yes. Right. So that'll be at Bad Tom Smith. They'll be our host right in the core of the neighborhood. And so I'll be able to make a post on our social media about that, as well as an email out. She'll be in contact with all of these people just to see if they're able to make it in case we need to reschedule, since we have a long time before the election. So, okay. All right, that is the end of our business for this evening. Yeah. All right, so
Would this fall under new business, is this discussing the electric trail? Is that able to do that at this point? That part of the business?
do you have something that you want us to vote on?
Not a vote on.
Okay. That's not.
When do we have that opportunity? So tonight?
Yep, we will roll through the rest of the agenda as normal. So we'll do the board reports, agency announcements, and then general body announcements.
I've been coming for a long time, but I'm more interested in the office of the committee chairs, because there never seems to be a way of competing or getting into those positions. Sometimes for the positions that I've asked for, I attend meetings, and then the committees I've attended kind of fall apart. So is there any way of changing the way we do committee chairs?
Yeah, so the committees are all defined in our bylaws as having standing committees is the way that that's phrased, right? So bylaws is a standing committee, and in the standing rules, it kind of describes what that position is. So if we want to reduce any standing committees, we would have to amend the bylaws. Honestly, I will say personally that we are on the short list for a neighborhood plan with the city of Cincinnati. So that should be happening next year if everything goes well. And so that process can be kind of a really good driver for this organization, because we can find out what it's a really, really good opportunity to find out what people really care about in the community. And we can kind of help, drag some people to be like, I see you've been to a lot of these meetings that we're talking about this issue. We happen to have this committee, right? So it's also a great opportunity too, like if there is specific feedback out of that process of how the community council could be structured, that could be a great way to kind of move to meet the community where they are. Right? Okay. So board reports. Big item that I do want to mention is that next Thursday, back here in this room at 7 o'clock, is the last meeting for the Madison Road Complete Streets project. Right, so this is next week is when they will discuss the feedback that they received from the previous cycle. I've already already started talking with them. It looks like they do have it broken down based on just overall feedback they receive, as well as feedback specific to people who work and live in Madisonville. So we'll be able to compare those. And then they will have a recommendation that they will show off, but I have not seen what that is, so I'm not telling you either.
I'm new here, so it's my first meeting.
Welcome.
What you're talking about, you said that they survey people who live in the neighborhood?
Yeah.
I've never done a survey. How, anybody ever get a survey?
So no, it was online on the city's website. You can pull it up real quick.
So it wasn't
we
door
had-
to door, it was only if you knew it was online.
Oh boy, yeah. Yeah, definitely not. So, I mean, I will say that the city, nor us, has the capacity to go door to door, right? So for us to send like a notification to every single mail address, that's gonna cost us like $4,000.
Those are like something that's been approved without the neighborhood.
So, right, I mean, that's how, the way the city of Cincinnati does public feedback, for the most part, is they lean on community council. And so, that's everybody's responsibility here, is the things that you learn and the things that you hear about here, is to go home and tell your neighbors and your family and your friends. This is the third meeting that we've had for this process. I did pay personally to boost that post like on Facebook and Instagram to try to help get it in front of people more. We started this process last summer in here where we voted to send a letter to ask for this. And so it's a very double-edged sword because the city doesn't have the capacity to do the public engagement themselves. So they basically outsource it to community organizations that are all volunteers. And so you have some neighborhoods that don't have any. And so it's hard for those neighborhoods to get the city's attention at all. So it's an unfortunate reality of the city that we live in, yeah.
Do you have a certain website or something? 'Cause I haven't seen anything online.
I haven't seen anything on the news, I haven't seen anything, I just heard you say it.
Yeah, and I did reach out to several reporters and didn't get any feedback. So this is the official website that is collecting everything. It's called publicinput.com/Madison Road. I also put a link in the online folder for today's meetings. If you go to our website and you click on October 2023, there'll be a link in there. There's also a page on the city's website, but it just links you to this directly. So you can just do an internet search for Madison Road Complete Street Study, Cincinnati, and that'll get you where you need to be. Or you come next week back here on Thursday night at 7 o'clock. And then whatever happens, whatever they recommend, like we are going to take a vote on that. So we are going to vote the community council to support their design, and then they will go and try to find grant funding to help pay for it. All right, I've talked too much. Okay, question. Gonna move to if the committee chairs have any announcements they want to make.
Will the city expect a yes or no vote on Thursday's meeting?
I have a meeting with them tomorrow to confirm, but I thought what we talked about the board was to get them to do it in the Thursday meeting. Oh, we talked about that? Go check.
At the board meeting, you said yes, they were going to expect a yes or no vote. So other than Facebook and Instagram, what other ways will we let the greater greater Madisonville community know about this?
Yes, email.
Great.
But I will.
Oh, but that's to members.
Right.
It's the city, the entirety of Madisonville that's invited, right?
Yes, correct. And people who don't live in Madisonville, anybody who uses the corridor should come to the meeting, yes. But our capabilities right now is Facebook, Instagram, email. And then I'm going to request tomorrow when I meet with them, if we can vote at the November meeting, which is the election. We should have a lot of people here anyways, right?
Can I just make a recommendation, that possibly, since not everybody uses Instagram and not everybody uses Facebook, that you might consider, if you haven't already done so, getting, some kind of announcement together that you can distribute to, like, the churches in the community, because we've got so many. I know you're saying you've got limited people, so you can't really go do the door to door, but if you at least get a flyer or some information to the churches that they can then distribute to the people in their congregation, that would reach quite a few people.
Yeah, and that's a big problem for the organization because we no longer have a communications chair either, who was the person who was making our flyers and doing that role. We have made efforts in the past to try to drop newsletter or flyers at local businesses and churches, and it hasn't really seemed to drive a lot of notification, I'll be honest with you. That hasn't seemed to be a successful strategy in the past. But we would have our volunteers take flyers and drop them off at a church or a local business. And just ask them politely if they would like these copies to pass out to their members. But at the end of the day, there's only so much time in the day, and almost everybody we have to volunteer with us has families and full-time jobs, so it's difficult. All right. Do any of my committee chairs have any announcements? Otherwise, we can move into our partners, our local partners. All right. So, do we have any questions? Any questions? All right. We'll move on to agency announcements. So, Hartsville, do you have any announcements?
I do.
Please, further. No, they cannot. They're not that.
Oh,
They're facing one way.
I can be loud. I think the police captain mentioned the trunk or treat, which will happen on October 31st. We are doing that in the Earthville, in the parking lot next to the building. We are expecting probably, I don't know, a couple hundred kids this year. We have probably one of the largest trunk or treats that we've done. We've got police, we've got businesses, we've got churches, we've got schools. So it will be a huge event for us that evening. So if you want to bring your car, decorate, come on and pass candy with us, that would be awesome. If the weather turns bad, we will go inside. Just so you know, we will continue to have the trunk or treat though. On October 26th, beginning October 26th through the 29th, Don Sherman and Cincinnati Black Theater will be performing Raisin in the Sun. There'll be 4 performances. So if you are interested, please go on the Artsville website or go to Cincinnati Black Theater website. And also left the flyers back on the table there. And then the next thing would be coming up in November, we'll talk more about that, will be kind of our season finale for the Cincinnati Poetry Slam, which will be our season final, and then December will be our winter playoff. So thank you to those who came last week to Playhouse in the Park to see the Velveteen Rabbit. We had a nice crowd, so glad to see that people are starting to know that we're there and coming out for those events.
Great. All right, let's do Hartsville. Is the business chamber have any announcements? There we go.
I'll try to go as quick as I can, y'all. Tired. Okay, we have several events that are going on. One very important, well, they're all very important. But on Sunday, October 22nd at 1 p.m., the Menino building is being dedicated. If you recall, Bill Carroll came in with his plan to what he wanted to do with that building and asked for council's approval. And one of the things he said was that he was dedicating that building to that family, because that's where that family started the business. And lo and behold, the development had this work. Okay, so Liz, you want to say anything about that? Liz is part of this family, so.
Hi, everybody, I'm Liz Field, if you haven't met me, I am the cheesecake in Wetzelwood, down on Wetzel, but as she said, we are dedicating the Menino building this Sunday at 1 o'clock. And the building itself is not finished, so it's gonna be a dance factory in the first floor. And I believe the top two is maybe running out for some other business, but I think condos as well. I'm not totally sure, so I'll take my word on that. But anyways, he's dedicating the building to our family. He kept, when you walk in, it says Meninos and Sons, so he kept that, which is really special for our family. But the last of our family, a generation, Uncle Charlie just passed away, he was like 94 years old. His funeral is on Monday, so we're having kind of like a mini reunion. So there's gonna be tons of Meninos there. So we're really excited and thankful to be honored in this way. There's gonna be, I'm bringing the food trucks, so we're gonna have free coffee and hot chocolate. It's just a nice way to get together and see everybody. So hopefully you can make it. Thanks.
Yeah, and that is actually, you can see what she's referring to on Google Street View. You can see the spot with the family name on it.
Can you repeat the date? This Sunday. This Sunday. Sunday.
Sunday, the 22nd. 1 p.m. Address 6011 Madison. Is that right?
Oh, you're right, 601.
Yeah, 6011. Okay, we have 2 other ribbon cuttings. Everybody's invited, by the way, to the dedication. One is Bad Tom Smith. They're having a ribbon cutting for the grand reopening on Saturday, October 28th at 3:30 p.m. And we have Jen, the general manager here, who's going to say a couple words.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jennifer Kavinsky, and I have to say, I'm not from Madisonville, but the more people that I meet, I really am falling in love with Madisonville. There's so many great businesses here, and we're really excited to have this grand reopening. We have new ownership, and they are just wonderful people, and gave me an opportunity to be a part of their vision and journey. Jackie and Fernando Cruz own Bad Tom Smith Brewing, and they have 3 little children, and their vision is just to be a part of this community and have a place where everybody can come and fellowship and hang out and maybe have a beer or bourbon or some good food. We're super excited for our grand reopening. We are gonna have tons of raffles. There's gonna be Bengals tickets given away, all kinds of things. So everyone is welcome. Bring kids, we have lots of games. We are doing an event tomorrow for Anna Albee, and from 5 to 6, so please show up. We're really excited to support her and her vision for this area. And then, of course, on November 1st, the event for all of you that Monica is running. So thank you guys so much for allowing me to have the opportunity to be here today. I look forward to getting to know more of you.
Okay, and the last event is a soft opening for Mad Cheese, which is located at 5903 Bramble Avenue. That will be this Saturday, 21st, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you're on our Instagram page, you can see that it's on there, Madisonville, BC 45227. Heather was also interviewed by, I think, the Inquirer Business Journal, and that article was in there as well. And the last thing I want to tell you is
What's the address again, please?
it is 5903 Bramble.
Mad Cheese is a vegetarian, vegan, it's already vegetarian. Vegan cheese shop. I think they have, their plan is to have kind of fairly narrow, kind of midday hours, because for the most part, she's been doing, like orders, but, what's that? And delivery, yeah, that's, I'm going to say, but they do vegan cheese.
Yes. And she'll have other products there too from local vendors. So stop by and just say hi. We're having a ribbon cutting the following week, I believe the 28th at 10 a.m. So soft opening this week, ribbon cutting next week. Also wanted to let you know about the chamber. We're working on our 5-year strategy. We're finishing up year 2024. Excited to add new members to our board and new positions. So you'll hear more from us about that.
All right, so I don't see any of our other neighborhood partners, so we can just move to, oh,
I missed the slot when you were talking from John P. Parker. They asked me to make an announcement for them.
Okay.
So we skipped over that section. Anyway, there's an event coming up on November 14th called Greens Cook-Off. Side Streams did this for many years over at the Lighthouse Community School. It's moved to John P. Parker. Last year we did it for a school only. You had to be a staff member. This year they've opened it up to the community. If you would like to make some greens, bring it in, throw it into the competition, and we have actual professional judges and public judges. Last year we had about 400 or 500 people there. Yeah, because if you're not connected to this, if you're connected to the school, that is, you have a student there or you're a staff member, then it's free. If you're a community member, I think it's going to cost $10. It's a catered event, so you get actual food besides greens. Because who can live on greens alone? But you'll have probably between 12 and 15 different greens to taste of all kinds, and you can hang out at the school. It's a good place.
and introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Steve Rock. I run a little nonprofit here called Side Streams. We did the 500 gardens, and then we did the 500 chickens, and this year we're reviving all that. If you want a garden or know somebody who does, let us know. We're going to be building again this spring. And we're also did the Peace Garden over on Chapman and Desmond, which now has a flock of peaceful chickens in it. So you can come visit them and say hi. More to come.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, so I can now open it to general body announcements. If anybody has any general announcements for the group, I see 3 hands. Well, Kate, Kathy, and
Okay. You probably said it, I'll say it again, the last day to pay dues before voting is the 27th. If you are currently a member, come see me after the meeting, I've got a membership card for you. If you're not a member, there's a little sheet that you can fill out to become a member, $5 dues, that is all.
then Kathy was saw next.
I just wanted to know why you skipped over showing Artsville. You showed everybody else's building but mine.
Yeah, I realized it like too late.
Where the trunk or treat's gonna be.
Yeah. There we go. Come on, man. There we go. Everybody knows where ours is. Okay, sorry.
And just to clarify, you have until 21 days before the next meeting to register to be a member, or pay to be a member, and still be able to vote in the election and later. And 2 days after the election, on November the 18th, we will again have for Madisonville residents, the people working cooperatively prepare a fair, which is a mouthful. But basically, we're just looking for any groups, neighbors, families, work groups to come together to help our neighbors who are in need of help. We have 80-year-old widows and 2-story houses that need leaves raked. We need, garden sheds to be put to bed for the winter. So it's light work and it's fun. So just watch social media for, sign up for that, which you can sign up until November the 18th. You can work on the 18th, or you can work anytime in November, as long as you have 2 or 3 people to make it worth your while. And again, these are for families or individuals in Madisonville that financially qualify for assistance. They're screened by PwC. Thank you. Well, I'm gonna post it on my, the City Council won't have posted. So it'll be on my personal Facebook page, Ann Boland, Boland. It'll also be in Madisonville Moms and Madisonville Families.
One more behind you there.
So again, I have a question. Is it possible to get the requirements for how people qualify on your page so they can see it ahead of time so they don't get there and find out that they're like $13 over or however the case may be? Because I know from personal experience, people in my family, they don't qualify because they're $13 or $5 over that limit.
Yeah.
So that's an excellent question, and it's a bummer. That PwC screens the families. If all y'all, and those online listening to this later, get in touch with me, we take care of all the PwC clients, but we also take care of others such as $13 over, or, I'm in the hospital, can you come break my legs? So we do more than just the PwC list. So let me know.
If you or one of your neighbors is struggling, please have them contact people working cooperatively for help. That kind of gets them in that pipeline, and there are other programs that the organization has as well.
Okay, I think I might be the last. Hello, everyone. My name is Anna Albee. I've been sitting back there. We have some new faces here, so I want to introduce myself. I'm the current recording secretary for Madisonville Community Council, but I'm also running for City Council. And I am on your ballot right now because early voting has started. You can go and vote. There's a lot of great issues on the ballot in addition, so you have the opportunity to vote on issue 1, which is around reproductive rights, issue 2, which is around legalizing recreational marijuana. You have in the city, you've got the sale of the railroad. You've got issue 23 is around a cleanup bill about how you can get onto the ballot. It's about the charter and kind of procedural. It's a good bill. And then issue 24 is a proposed earnings tax for housing. So that's a housing tax. And then there are 2 levies that are on. So there's one for the public library, for the county, and another one for the zoo. The zoo does not increase taxes. The library one does by oh gosh, don't quote me on this. It's like $28,000 or $28 for every $100,000 of your house is worth. So if your house is $100,000, it's $28 extra a year, right? Something like that. I see someone trying to fact check me. 0.3%. So that will be on your ballot as well as City Council. So I am part of your community here. My focus is on gun violence prevention. I've been leading a grassroots group called Moms Made Action, which focuses on gun safety, gun violence prevention. A lot of that for me goes back to making sure that folks have access to housing, have access to fresh food, have access to healthcare, which includes reproductive rights and mental health care, and then that we're investing into youth programs, community programs, like the great work Kathy does at Artsville, Ms. Tony does with our youth programs. So that is my focus. I will be in the back here if you have any questions for me. Also, I forgot yard signs, so if anyone wants a yard sign, I would love to give you one. Come find me, I'll take down your address, I will put it in your lawn for you. It's a full delivery service. So thank you all so much.
All right. All right, see no other hands. One last parting thing is that the election 2 years ago, we had 50 people vote. So it would be great if all of you could help us beat that. So that's the goal. We want to have more than 50 people vote next month. All right. You will have a motion on the floor to adjourn. A motion by Stephanie Myers, second, Josh Howard. Okay, thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. Or next week. We'll see. Come next week.
Oh,